Chapter 16. And they set out from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second new moon, after their going out of the land of Mitzrayim. And all the congregation of the children of Israel grumbled against Moshe and Aharon in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said to them, If only we had died by the hand of Yahuwah in the land of Mitzrayim, when we sat by the pots of meat, and we ate bread to satisfaction. For you have brought us out into this wilderness to put all this assembly to death of hunger. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, See, I am raining bread from the heavens for you. And the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, in order to try them, whether they walk in my Torah or not. And it shall be on the 6th day that they shall prepare what they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moshe and Aharon said to all the children of Israel, At evening you shall know that Yahuwah has brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And in the morning you shall see the esteem of Yahuwah, for he hears your grumblings against Yahuwah. And what are we, that you grumble against us? And Moshe said, In that Yahuwah gives you meat to eat in the evening, and in the morning bread to satisfaction, for Yahuwah hears your grumblings which you make against him. And what are we? Your grumblings are not against us, but against Yahuwah. And Moshe said to Aharon, Say to all the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before Yahuwah, for he has heard your grumblings. And it came to be, as Aharon spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and see, the esteem of Yahuwah appeared in the cloud. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, I have heard the grumblings of the children of Israel. Speak to them, saying, Between the evenings you are to eat meat, and in the morning you are to be satisfied with bread. And you shall know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim. And it came to be that quails came up at evening and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay all around the camp. And the layer of dew went up, and see, on the surface of the wilderness was a small round substance, as fine as frost on the ground. And the children of Israel saw, and they said to each other, What is it? For they did not know what it was. And Moshe said to them, It is the bread which Yahuwah has given you to eat. This is the word which Yahuwah has commanded. Let every man gather it according to each one's need, an omer for each being, according to the number of beings. Let every man take for those who are in his tent. And the children of Israel did so, and gathered, some more, some less. And they measured it by omers, and he who gathered much did not have too much, and he who gathered little did not have too little. Each one gathered according to his need. And Moshe said, Let no one leave any of it until morning. And they did not listen to Moshe, so some of them left part of it until morning, and it bred worms and stank. And Moshe was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, each one according to his need. And when the sun became hot, it melted. And it came to be on the 6th day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe. And he said to them, This is what Yahuwah has said. Tomorrow is a rest, a Sabbath set apart to Yahuwah. That which you bake, bake, and that which you cook, cook. And lay up for yourselves all that is left over, to keep it until morning. And they laid it up till morning, as Moshe commanded, and it did not stink, and no worm was in it. And Moshe said, Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to Yahuwah. Today you do not find it in the field. Gather it 6 days, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, there is none. And it came to be that some of the people went out on the 7th day to gather it, but they found none. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, How long shall you refuse to guard my commands and my Torah? See, because Yahuwah has given you the Sabbath, therefore he is giving you bread for 2 days on the 6th day. Let each one stay in his tent. Do not let anyone go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day. And the house of Israel called its name manna. And it was like white coriander seed, and the taste of it was like thin cakes made of honey. And Moshe said, This is the word which Yahuwah has commanded. Fill an omer with it, to keep for your generations, so that they see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe said to Aharon, Take a pot and put an omer of manna in it, and set it down before Yahuwah, to keep for your generations. As Yahuwah commanded Moshe, so did Aharon set it down before the witness, to keep. And the children of Israel ate manna 40 years, until they came to an inhabited land. They ate manna until they came to the border of the land of Canaan, and an omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Chapter 17. And all the congregation of the children of Israel set out on their journey from the wilderness of Sin, according to the mouth of Yahuwah, and camped in Rephidim. And there was no water for the people to drink. Therefore the people strove with Moshe and said, "Give us water to drink." And Moshe said to them, "Why do you strive with me? Why do you try Yahuwah?" And the people thirsted there for water, and the people grumbled against Moshe, and said, "Why did you bring us out of Mitzrayim, to kill us and our children and our livestock with thirst?" Then Moshe cried out to Yahuwah, saying, "What am I to do with this people? Yet a little, and they shall stone me." And Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Pass over before the people, and take with you some of the elders of Israel, and take in your hand with your rod with which you struck the river, and go. See, I am standing before you there on the rock of Horeb. Ye shall strike the rock, and water shall come out of it, and the people shall drink." And Moshe did so before the eyes of the elders of Israel. And he called the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because of the strife of the children of Israel, and because they tried Yahuwah, saying, "Is Yahuwah in our midst or not?" And Amalek came and fought with Israel in Rephidim. And Moshe said to Yehoshua, "Choose for us men, and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I am stationing myself on the top of the hill with the rod of Elohim in my hand." And Yehoshua did as Moshe said to him, to fight with Amalek. And Moshe, Aharon, and Hur went up to the top of the mountain, of the hill. And it came to be, when Moshe held up his hand, that Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. But Moshe's hands were heavy, so they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat on it. And Aharon and Hur supported his hands, one on one side and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady until the going down of the sun. And Yehoshua defeated Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, "Write this for remembrance in the book, and recite it in the hearing of Yehoshua, that I shall completely blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens." And Moshe built a slaughter place and called its name Yahuwah Nisi. For he said, "Because a hand is on the throne of Yah, Yahuwah is to fight against Amalek from generation to generation." Chapter 18. And Yithro, the priest of Midian, Moshe's father-in-law, heard of all that Elohim had done for Moshe and for Israel his people, that Yahuwah had brought Israel out of Mitzrayim. And Yithro, Moshe's father-in-law, took Zipporah, the wife of Moshe, after he had sent her back, and he had 2 sons, of whom the name of one was Gershom, for he said, "I have been a sojourner in a foreign land." And the name of the other was Eleazar, for he said, "The Elohim of my father was my help, and delivered me from the sword of Pharaoh." Yithro, Moshe's father-in-law, came with his sons and his wives to Moshe in the wilderness, where he was encamped at the mountain of Elohim. And he said to Moshe, "I, your father-in-law Yithro, am coming to you with your wife and her 2 sons with her." And Moshe went out to meet his father-in-law, and bowed down and kissed him. And they asked each other about their welfare, and they went into the tent. And Moshe told his father-in-law all that Yahuwah had done to Pharaoh and to the Mitzrites for Israel's sake, and all the hardship that came upon them on the way, and how Yahuwah had delivered them. And Yithro rejoiced for all the good which Yahuwah had done for Israel, whom he had delivered out of the hand of the Mitzrites. And Yithro said, "Blessed be Yahuwah, for he who has delivered you out of the hand of the Mitzrites, and out of the hand of Pharaoh, and who has delivered the people from under the hand of the Mitzrites. Now I know that Yahuwah is greater than all the mighty ones, indeed in the matter in which they acted proudly above them." And Yithro, the father-in-law of Moshe, brought an ascending offering and other slaughterings unto Elohim. And Aharon came with all the elders of Israel to eat bread with the father-in-law of Moshe before Elohim. And it came to be on the next day that Moshe sat to rightly rule the people, and the people stood before Moshe from morning until evening. And when the father-in-law of Moshe saw all that he did for the people, he said, "What is this that you are doing for the people? Why do you sit by yourself, and all the people stand before you from morning until evening?" And Moshe said to his father-in-law, "Because the people come to me to seek Elohim. When they have a matter, they come to me, and I rightly rule between one and another, and make known all the laws of Elohim and his Torah." And the father-in-law of Moshe said to him, "What you are doing is not good. Both you and these people with you shall certainly wear yourselves out, for the matter is too heavy for you. You are not able to do it by yourself. Now listen to my voice. Let me counsel you, and Elohim be with you. Stand before Elohim for the people, and you shall bring the matter to Elohim. And you shall enlighten them concerning the laws and the Torah, and show them the way in which they should walk, and the work which they do. But you yourselves seek out from all the people able men who fear Elohim, men of truth, hating unfair gain, and place these over them to be rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, and rulers of 10s. And they shall rightly rule the people at all times. It shall be that they bring every great matter to you, but they themselves rightly rule every small matter. So make it lighter for yourselves, for they shall bear with you. If you do this word, and Elohim shall command you, then you shall be able to stand, and all this people also go to their place in peace. And Moshe listened to the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he said. And Moshe chose able men out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And they rightly ruled the people at all times. The hard matters they brought to Moshe, but they rightly ruled every small matter themselves. And Moshe sent off his father-in-law, and he went away to his own land. Chapter 19. And the third new moon, after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mitzrayim, on this day they came to the wilderness of Sinai. For they set out from Rephidim, and had come to the wilderness of Sinai, and camped in the wilderness. So Israel camped there before the mountain. And Moshe went up to Elohim, and Yahuwah called to him from the mountain, saying, This is what you are to say to the house of Yaakov, and declare to the children of Israel. You have seen what I did to the Mitzrites, and how I bore you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. And now, if you diligently obey my voice, and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all the peoples, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a reign of priests and a set-apart nation, for those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel. And Moshe came and called for the elders of the people, and set before them all the words which Yahuwah had commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that Yahuwah has spoken we shall do. So Moshe brought back the words of the people to Yahuwah. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, See, I am coming to you in a thick cloud, so that the people hear when I speak with you, and believe you forever. And Moshe reported the words of the people to Yahuwah. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Go to the people, and set them apart today and tomorrow. And they shall wash their garments, and shall be prepared by the third day. For on the third day Yahuwah shall come down upon Mount Sinai before the eyes of all the people. And you shall make a border for the people all around, saying, Take heed to yourselves that you do not go up to the mountain, or touch the border of it. Whoever touches the mountain shall certainly be put to death. Not a hand is to touch it, but he shall certainly be stoned, or shot with an arrow. Whether man or beast, he shall not live. When the Yovel sounds long, let them come near the mountain. And Moshe came down from the mountain to the people, and set the people apart, and they washed their garments. And he said to the people, Be prepared by the third day. Do not come near a wife. And it came to be on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings, and a thick cloud on the mountain. And the voice of a shofar was very strong, and all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moshe brought the people out of the camp to meet with Elohim, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was in smoke, all of it, because Yahuwah descended upon it in fire. And its smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace, and the mountain trembled exceedingly. And when a voice of the shofar sounded long and became very strong, Moshe spoke, and Elohim answered him by voice. And Yahuwah came down upon Mount Sinai on top of the mountain, and Yahuwah called Moshe to the top of the mountain, and Moshe went up. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Go down and warn the people, lest they break through unto Yahuwah to see, and many of them fall. And let the priests who come near Yahuwah set themselves apart too, lest Yahuwah break out against them. And Moshe said to Yahuwah, The people are not able to come up to Mount Sinai, for you warned us, saying, Make a border around the mountain and set it apart. And Yahuwah said to him, Come, go down, and then come up, you and Aharon with you. But do not let the priests and the people break through to come up to Yahuwah, lest he break out against them. And Moshe went down to the people and spoke to them. Chapter 20. And Elohim spoke all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of slavery. You have no other mighty ones against my face. You do not make for yourselves a carved image or any likeness of that which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters underneath the earth. You do not bow down to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah your Elohim, am a jealous El, visiting the crookedness of the fathers on the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving commitment to thousands, to those who love me and guard my commands. You do not bring the name of your Elohim to naught, for Yahuwah does not leave one unpunished who brings his name to naught. Remember the Sabbath day, to set it apart. 6 days you labor and shall do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath of Yahuwah your Elohim. You do not do any work, you nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, and the sea and all that is in them, and rested the 7th day. Therefore Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart. Respect your father and your mother, so that your days are prolonged upon the soil which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. You do not murder, you do not commit adultery, you do not steal, you do not bear false witness against your neighbor. You do not cover your neighbor's house, you do not cover your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. And all the people saw the thunders and the lightning flashes, the voice of the shofar and the mountain smoking. And the people saw it, and they trembled and stood at a distance. And said to Moshe, You speak with us, and we hear, but let not Elohim speak with us, lest we die. And Moshe said to the people, Do not fear, for Elohim has come to prove you, and in order that his fear be before you, so that you do not sin. So the people stood at a distance, but Moshe drew near the thick darkness where Elohim was. And Yahuwah said to Moshe, Say this to the children of Israel, You yourselves have seen that I have spoken to you from the heavens. You do not make besides me mighty ones of silver, and you do not make mighty ones of gold for yourselves. Make a slaughter place of earth for me. You shall slaughter on it your ascending offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your cattle, in every place where I cause my name to be remembered. I shall come to you and bless you. And if you make me a slaughter place of stone, do not build it of cut stone, for if you use your chisel on it, you have profaned it. Nor do you go up by steps to my slaughter place, lest your nakedness be exposed on it.